There we go. Hello everyone. Today is going to be our first unique pre-made battle test with Tactics League. We recently just made a full 24 character roster using heroes and villains alike throughout the story. The party roster that you are watching right now is probably going to be a little buggy. Like for example, Argath here is Ramza and actually doesn't show up. But once we get into battle, he will be visible just like every other character. It's purely just a party roster glitch because some characters were never meant to be in the party roster, and so it doesn't know exactly what to do with said characters. So definitely pay more attention to character names, especially while going through the party, and even more so while we're playing. So now you're going to be watching Drase's point of view versus myself, Yoshi. We'll be doing a best of 3 here in a second once we get everything set up on our end. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. We recently added the Twitch chat to our stream, so hopefully when we get these recorded over to YouTube, you'll still be able to see the chat interaction, stuff like that. So if you see us talking to someone, then you should be able to see the interaction there. Alright, it's going to be a second here. We'll get everything situated. Let's try that again. Or either that or Dino's down. 1 and 2. Okay. Looks like should be up in theory. Let's try this again. Yeah, worst case scenario, yeah. Ah, there you go. Yep. Hello, bye. Alright, so we'll go on in and do the second one since this actually gives us a full set of different maps. Actually, that's a little messed up. Anyways, we'll go ahead and do Uruguay Woods. We'll scratch out Baylessville. I think that's just a an error from the map roll. Then Lionel Castle Oratory and Zacchaeus Desert. So we have medium, small, and medium maps for tonight. Now that we have the map selection figured out here, we should be able to get ready to get everything situated. So bear with us one moment while we get all that stuff taken care of. Okay, fix that. Perfect. Alright, so real quick, I was going to post in chat, make sure this is all situated here. Drase versus Yoshi, once again, for those who are tuning in. We're doing a best of 3 match. Alright. Drase is ready? So, of course, since I'm going to be live playing, you're probably not going to be hearing me commentate as much. Thank God. But anyways, I'll be talking about some things as they go on. I'll probably talk a little bit more about some of the builds, unique builds as we run along. Try to be kind of short and brief since me and him are actively playing. But just kind of get a touchdown about some of the stuff we worked on and what the ideal goal is of what you're about to watch. F1 is Aragway Woods. Alright, start it up. Okay, so I'm gonna look this way just so I don't see your picks. We are playing on a medium map, so the selection can be very much variable. Alright, and looks like we're going to start game 1 right now. Game 1's going to be on Aragway Woods. This is Drase's point of view versus Yoshi. And let the games begin. Alright, got a pretty interesting lineup here. Okay, I am enemy, so I should act first. Since Drase is also running on Orlando, our speeds are equal, but the enemy or the guest team will always have, if speeds are matched, then the guest team will always be able to go first. Whoever is matched fastest. It'll be my turn first. So let's get that situated. Alright, so Orlando, he's support, as most people usually see him as. Usually the guy you run in story that just one-shots everything, essentially. We have him a little different here. He's a grab bag of damage, support, and tank. He has a little bit of buff, he has a little bit of healing, he even has some damage. So overall, pretty nice guy. He's also the only character that has auto haste, so haste from his gear. Already built in, so Orlando will always be the fastest of the unique premades in general because of that. He has his divine ruination, he has crush accessory, and he also has shadow blade. So he has the ability to do some like directional damage with a chance to confuse. He has the ability to guarantee break someone's accessory, albeit if they're safeguarded. And he also has the ability to restore health or absorb health from the enemy. So overall pretty good guy. And he also has some Miyato skills as well on top of that. So you can use those to either provide AoE healing, you can provide AoE protect and shell, which is going to be very important early on, which is exactly what me and Drase did. And he also has the ability to provide some AoE damage, which I think has a chance to confuse Ama no Murakama, I think. It's a slow. Okay, so Luso's going to be our MA variant or magic variant of Ramza. Ramza and Premades, and he was copied over. For anyone who's been with us before or watched our previous videos, Ramza is a DPS with some support skills. He was basically copied over to Unique Premades because we like the position he already was in. And Luso is basically the magic version of him. This time around, he has the same metal skill set as Ramza. So like shout, tailwind, steal, chant, and Ultima, but he also has Kikijumanji and Shurijireiden, which are skills from the Yato skill line. Ultimately, when you compare Ramza's Unholy Sacrifice to Luso's Shurijireiden, they're basically all in the same. Their damage is very similar. They both have a negative, like with Luso's Shurijireiden only has 1, so if he breaks that 1 Shurijireiden, he's no longer going to use it in the battle, while Ramza always does damage to himself. So there are some negatives of both abilities while delivering high damage and AoE. Kikijumanji is also useful for getting some AoE picks. It's a 8-panel 4-directional skill that can target someone from a pretty noticeable distance. Outside of that, you know, he's pretty good. He's pretty strong. I personally like Luso the way he is. I like the variant that he's similar to Ramza. He's a little less bulky because he's not running a shield, but he is pretty similar in damage. But he also has a little bit of extra safety because he can attack from range, so which makes him fair in that sense. Or at least like to think he's fair in that sense. Alright, looks like Drase is gonna ready up a summon here. Trying to nuke me. Alright, heard. Have that. Alright. And just want to talk about Clitain, the person that Drase just used a second ago. He's a sorcerer, if you hadn't realized already. He has some very, very strong single target magic abilities. He also has some summons. He currently has Shiva, Ifrit, Rama, and I believe Zodiark. So some pretty quick, easy damage, and he also has a long cast time, but pretty much guaranteed going to nuke something if it lands, kind of deal. So he requires some playthrough, but he has a very hard hitting sword. I'm just gonna dispose my Orin Wisen channel. It's gonna take 100 damage there. Construct here, by the way, he is a tank. He basically has the ability to range people from afar while doing some okay damage, and he also is atheist, which means that he cannot be affected by magics that apply faith. So you can't like use haste on him, for example, or your opponent can't use a summon, or can't use like holy on him, for example. All right, that was my Alma. She's going to be one of the 2 main supports when it comes down to getting like straight buffs. She has no real damage utility, but she has a lot of utility. And at this point, I had her set up to provide Protect, Haste, Shell, Regen, and Re-Raise on my Balthier, noting that he is already in potential range of Drase's Clitain's Sorcerer. So I want to make sure that if he does get nuked, he has a chance to get back up. Alright, let's see. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go and get Protect Shell onto my Orin just so that my entire group at this point is covered. Protect Shell is going to be very important at all times in PvP. Protect Shell and Haste not so much in here this time, but in general you always want to try to have all 3 of those buffs. Protect and Shell both reduce damage taken from either physical, which is from a Protect, or magic, which is Shell, reduces the damage taken by 2/3. So it's pretty drastic damage reduction. It's going to allow the fight to go on much longer, which gives you more time to actually set up or try to go for a long game instead of trying to play a short one. Alright, Argath making some interesting cast time plays here, I see. Okay. Alright, let's see what we can do. Balthier is my boy. Balthier, we have him set up as a damage spec with a bow. Of course, he has brought back his All-time favorite Barrage. He also has some extra stuff like Geomancy and Plunder Heart and Plunder Accessory abilities that can be used to either charm a female unit or break, potentially steal, excuse me, a target accessory at a very high rate. So pretty handy stuff there potentially. I'm not going to be able to get the status off because Cletane is immune to the stop, but I'm still going to do some damage off, and I'm going to go ahead and reposition my Balthier out of that Zodiark AoE, which I know Drase had setting up on Balthier in the first place. And now we're back over to Drase's Orlando. What's up, Bebop? How's it going? Watch some unique premades, uniques only, 5v5. Alright, my Celestial Stasis is going off right now. This has a 50% chance to apply Stop, Immobilize, and Disable to anyone who is not immune to said statuses. Alright, I got Disable off on... Disable, Immobilize, and Stop on Drace's Orlando, and I think I just got an Immobilize off on Cletane. Yes, so he will still be able to wind up his Zodiark, but he's no longer going to move. Which, honestly, right now, Drace has him in a good position because I can't Balthier him from there. I still Kikijimunji him from there, but I believe I can anyways. I don't know if I can actually face through trees, but at least have some options to hit him if I need to. So speaking of which, let's see. Okay, you actually can hit him from there, so that's good. Okay, alright, so we'll definitely be able to target. I'm gonna go ahead and smack him with that real quick. Alright, I'm gonna end my Lucius turn here at this point. Alright, I'm going to be switching over to Drace's Cletane, who's currently charging up Zodiark. Alright, so just to kind of talk about Cletane real quick, like I said earlier, he's mostly, his hardest hitting moves outside of Zodiark Summon is his Magic's command, which has Holy, Graviga, Flare, and Unholy Darkness, which is basically a dark elemental version of Holy. All four abilities hit very hard. Some may hit harder or softer depending on the targets. Elemental resistances like for example, Drace's Reyes has Minerva Bust here, which means that she's going to have or negate completely certain elements. I think she will negate Dark, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there. But anyway, she's one of those two that Cletane has to play a lot more questionable too. Whereas I consider running Flare Graviga instead. But yeah, let's go ahead and see some kind of play I can make here real quick. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and charm Drace's Reyes, so she is now under AI control and no longer Drace's control. He can simply attack her, but that means he has to spend a turn to do so, to break her out of said effect. Alright, so let's talk about Argath. So Argath here, he's a... oh, later Bebop, just noticed you say good luck. Thank you, appreciate it. Have a good one. So Argath, he is the undead version of Argath. I think in the War of the Lions, he was added on is when you actually have to fight him and his undead counterpart. But I think in the original PSX, that was not the case. But we have the undead version of him here. He's got a cursed ring to make sure he is truly undead. So that means he can be hurt by holy, white magics, items, like stuff that heal essentially. But there's a few people that can actually heal him. but they are more or less not the types of like holy healing kind of deal. Anyway, so this guy, he's got access to Fell Sword, which is Shadow Blade and Dust Blade. So basically, damage and absorb HP or damage and absorb MP. He also has Time Magics, Gravity, Gravica, and Meteor, which I'm assuming Drase is probably trying to wind up a Meteor on me. If I had a guess there. But yeah, he's pretty cool overall. Let's see. Decisions. I'm gonna try to see if this will actually land. Hope I can somewhat count. Probably can't, sadly. Good call there. Why is that? I got a target on him, but it's...
Yeah, but you're not targeting. What's happening? No one with the prayer. It should only be like
It's a 2 vert, yeah. It's 5 radius. 4 directional, 5 radius 2 vert. It's okay. Alright, well, in that case, still for the most part okay there. Alright, so my charmed Reyes is now going to attack. Oh, alright, Reyes, alright. That will, however, knock her out of that charmed. She has a gay ball, or excuse me, a Gungnir, which is a lightning based spear. So since Construct is actually elemental weak to lightning, that means he took extra damage there. We just witnessed. But sadly, he countered her, so that actually knocked her out of charmed. And Drase is going to Ifrit my Luso. Yep. Sexy 62. Alright. Works for me. Alright. Alright, Orion, let's see what we got, homie. Alright, so Orion, besides him having Celestial Stasis, he also has height-based arithmetics, which I'm going to try to potentially do here in a second. Alright, let's see. I'm going to do a height prime fire, so it's going to be a level 2 fire going towards my Luso. Almost going to get hit, Orlando's going to get hit, and then it should be... Construct's not, because he is faith-based, or not faith, so he doesn't care about that. That damage did poorly on Argath, a little bit on Orlando, but Maluso will proc his magic boost, so his MA will go up, resulting in stronger Iato skills. So overall, not bad. Didn't take into factor that Alma was going to take a lot of damage from there, though. That's not the best thing in the world, I guess you could say. Alright, so let's talk about our buddy here, Construct 8, real quick. So, Construct is a tank. He's the guy that Drase is currently deciding actions on. He's got still his 4 abilities, his task abilities: Suppress, Dispose, Pulverize, and Destroy. Each one has certain ranges, and each one does certain damage. The more damage, or excuse me, the more damage he does, the more damage he takes. So Construct always hurts himself when he does a task command. But his dispose is pretty nice. It's probably one of the better things about him is that the fact that he can... Where is that landed? Is it the fact that it can he has a, I believe it's an 8-panel target. Balthier? Okay, 0 and 84. Balthier will get Adrenaline Rush. That's going to increase his speed and also the damage of his bow. Alright, I'm going to go and try to get Reyes back outside of Drase's control. That lands again, so she's under AI control. Basically just trying to keep her out of action as much as I can, so that ultimately Drase has less characters to use. I'm gonna go ahead and Lucio chant my almost health back up so she's no longer in critical status. It's gonna do some damage to Lucio, but that will keep my support alive, which is pretty vital for me at the moment. Alright, and now we're back to Cletane. Alright, let's gonna start winding up on Balthier. Alright, assuming at this point our guys are looking at Lucio or Orlando, potentially Alma. Shadow Blade me. It's gonna get Lucio into critical HP here. You will survive the hit, however, and I will MA boost again, strengthening his Yato skills. Alright, I need to play this pretty careful for the most part. Alright. Now I'm already switched over here. Start to get some damage out here. I'm going to play this safe here and going to Murasame, Lucio, and Orlando's health back up. 132 heal to both. Alright, Aegis is going to proc on Lucio. It's going to give him haste, protect shell, regen, and re-raise, which you already have protect the shell, but it's going to refresh those said buffs. And now Drase is going to holy my Balthier. Do we get the adrenaline rush? And I do not. Alright, Reyes is still on charmed, so she is technically acting in my favor. She's gonna poke Orlando. That works for me. It's more damage out on the enemy. I'm going in barrage, Cletane down. Should be at 240 total, or excuse me, 180 total. So just going to put him a little shy from being a critical HP, which is fine. Alright, it's up to Lucio. I think it's for our fun part here. Go in and push in for a Cheer Drade in here. That puts Construct in critical HP. Our guy takes a 270 hit. Shadow Blade's going out. It's going to put Luso back into critical HP. Rock the MA boost again. I think that's a +3 or +4 on Luso, so he's going to be hitting very hard with his Yato skills at this point, or even if I Ultima. He does have re-raise, so that means that if he goes down, I will be able to get him back up later in the fight. I'm going to bring Luso back up here real quick. With the cost of some Alma's HP. Chan OP, just letting y'all know now. Alright, Cletane's turn. We're 29 actions in, by the way, so not too bad. Normally generic premates take a little into the 40 range, 40 going on 50 depending on the fight drag out. So so far decent progress. No KOs yet, but we do have potentially 2, almost 3 characters in injury. So he's going to play up pretty important here this next couple plays on my behalf as I try to work down Drase's lineup. I'm going to do Amo no Murakamo. That's going to down Construct, and it's going to put some damage onto Argath with Orlando. Alright, I'm going to go and focus Cletane while he's in charge time. That's going to also down him. Alright, so it's 2 KOs in a row on my behalf. This will put Drase at a field disadvantage at this point. Orlando, his main support, is still in stop status. Immobilize and disable, which he should be getting ready to wind up soon. I also still have his Reyes under charm control, which means the AI is working in my favor, not his. The AI is trying to get that damage on Argath. If that Holy Breath lands, it's going to be additional damage since he is undead. Looks like that is not the case today. What's that? Yeah, or in slow, which is purposeful. He has the ability to basically kneel people down. But yeah, right now, yeah, he's not acting often. I think he is hasted. No, he's not hasted, so yeah, that's probably one big reason at the current moment. I'm going to go ahead and defend with him. That should mean he's going to have less CT burned during his actions, as I chose to defend this at a weight. It's going to be Argath's turn here. Argath is in a decent position to potentially down at least 1 character, I believe. Maybe 2. I know Luso is definitely a suspect. Okay, she can definitely take down Alma. That's going to get rid of my main support, so she goes down. But she definitely put in a lot of work in my favor there, so hopefully I can avenge her death. Argath's going to get his HP back topped up to full, now that he's got the kill. It's going to be my first KO, or my first down in Drase's favor. So we're currently, 4-3 Drase. 4-3, yeah, excuse me, 4-3 Yoshi. I have to remind myself I'm not the one that's actually on the stream. I'm playing on Android. So Drase. Alright, let's see. If I can play this correctly, so I'm going to utilize turn order. 4. I should be able to down Argath before he gets the ability to act, which is my main threat at the moment. So I'm going to go in and push for another Cheer Raiden against them. It's going to put him down 300, so he's in critical HP. My Balthier will strike next, if I'm not mistaken. If I read that correctly, or is Orlando. One or the other. It is Balthier, which will put him in a definitely good spot to be able to strike at Argath. Alright, let's go on and take Argath down. That's the main threat I have for my team at the position at this current moment. Argath has gone down. Drase's only options are his Reyes, which is currently charmed, which he does not have control over, and he stopped Orlando, which he also cannot act with. So at this point, his stop will break, however, so Orlando's back in action. However, he's still immobilized and disabled, so he really still cannot make any actions. Now would be the time for me to push forward and start taking down his Orlando while he's incapable of doing any actions, and claim the game for me. Let's see if we can get the confuse off too, because why not? Does not land, but I will get some chip damage. That's right, Orlando is innate to that. He won't be confused, but he will still get some damage out. Reyes is still under AI possession in my favor, so she's going to also get some chip damage as well. Much appreciate it. Right, that's true. Yeah. Good call there. So anytime you try to, like, let's say you assume to get a status, like I try to do Divine Ruination, which has a chance to status, and it fails because the game, like when you're doing the damage forecast screen, it will tell you if an ability has a chance to apply or not. It will say confused plus the damage done. So if it doesn't say that, it means that character is basically innately immune, or there's gear, something is causing them to not be targeted by that confuse. Alright, this will put Orlando in critical condition after that 4-hit barrage, and safe to say that unless he can get a disable, which he actually just broke free of, I now definitely have to take him down so he doesn't get any recovery. Thankfully it is my boy Luso's turn, but can he actually land this strike with Kikichimunji from 8 panels away? So I'm going to count. Make sure I don't miss my count as well, or the panel rather. Alright, we are in position to Kikichimunji. Orlando will go down from that hit. It pays to count, it pays to look, and it definitely pays to observe the map before you make confirmation on commands. Especially in the high level game, you want to make sure that you are ready to do the deed. That it will always be in your favor as much as it can be. I could have easily made a bad call there and not counted my tiles. Could have put him 2 tiles back where he's currently at, and it would not have connected, since Kikichimunji is an 8-panel target. Alright, now that Orlando's out of the way and Reyes is still under charm possession, she is the last enemy. However, I still have to take her down because even though she's under AI position, she is still a member of Drase's team, and she has to be taken down at this point. So, I'm going to, I'm not going to attack her just yet. I'm actually going to break her accessory, which will nullify her Protect Shell, so I can get more damage out on her. Hopefully we can get the steal. This still connects. Alright, so Ledge is broken. That means Reyes no longer has Protect Shell, which means she no longer has 2/3 damage less. Alright, let's do some more turn order here, because I want to make sure that that once she gets damaged and is broken free of charm, depending on how I play it out, I don't want Drase to get as many actions with her as possible for potential comeback. So trying to play this as careful as possible here, not make any foolish plays while she's still under charm. She's probably just going to kind of like sit there, yeah, more or less just kind of scoot to the side here in her turn. Now that that's out of the way, I'm going to see if Stasis will connect. If it doesn't, that's fine. If it does, even better. It will connect on the stop, perfect for me. I am now in full position to take the map from Drase. At this point, I'm going to start positioning my characters towards Reyes while she is frozen, and down her HP to 0. Alright, here we go. So isn't fully in range of Shirja rating yet, so I'm going to go poke her with the Kikichimunji real quick. Start getting some chip damage. So that is non-protected, non-shelled damage you just seen there, of 240 Kikichimunji. So once again, it re-emphasizes the importance of protecting shell. That's the reason why I went and took that out first, was to make sure that she's going to take as much damage as possible, because she is a tank, and she's a very strong tank on top of that. My timer is out, so I need to start making very quick actions here. Not going to be able to make the action here because I'm out of range, so that's fine. Barrage is not going to land. Still kind of fun watching. Alright, anyways. Let's shift you here. Alright, so real quick, she is at height 2. I'm not going to be able to get this off when my timer is out, so I'm going to end my turn. That's fine once again. Okay, now I can position in range for Shirja Raiden. Luckily I haven't had any breaks yet with it. As I say, I'll probably go into... Yeah, it broke. Oh, right on time though. Alright. Game, sir. Alright. Yoshi will take game 1. And that's a wrap on that one. Alright, once we get our prizes and all that good stuff, we can go ahead and jump into game 2, which I believe is Lionel Castle Oratory. This is going to be a small map, so I'm expecting some hostility from Drase's behalf. So I'm going to, we'll kind of see how that plays out here. Let me get back to Tavern real quick. Alright, ready to join? Alright. What's up? One second, Drase. Let me go ahead and confirm this real quick. Let me double check. Yes, Lionel Castle. Alright, I got a couple things out the way here. Just going to start the next round. This is game 2 on Lionel Castle Oratory. This is a small map, so expect to see very little setup time between both of us. We're going to try to make a fast break here. I'm assuming that, knowing Drake is probably going to try to do something, but you never know, he might surprise me and try to pull off something else just because he knows I'm expecting something. I guess we're about to find out. Anyways. Let's get our teams here situated. All right. Good. All right, perfect. Interesting. Okay. This is about to get really interesting, I think. Unless someone screws up, but we'll see. All right, here we go. Game 2. This is Drace's point of view once again versus Yoshi. Person you're speaking to, or hearing from right now. If anyone has any questions or wants to just kind of throw a shout out, feel free to do so as we get ready to launch the next game. I am enemy, so I will spawn at the top of the stairs. And it also means I'll have first action with my Orlando, since I am the enemy. I'm going to take this time now to go ahead and protect my squad, because I know that this is going to turn into a very fast fight between both of us. So let's go ahead and start setting that up now. Going to protect Shell there. I could not get all 5 of my members because of their positioning, so I'm going to prioritize getting that up on Lusso versus Agrius. Essentially is my thought process there. And I'll hop it over to Drace's Orlando. Which of course also has a similar idea. Of course he will get the protect shell off on his entire team, which means they're fully protected and he can basically initialize combat at this point if he wants to. Or you can kind of see how this plays out before we engage. Now, so just to throw some stuff out here since this is a battle test, the reason why I went with Celia is because I had a feeling that Drace is going to pick a lot of males. So Celia is, in theory, a female version of Balthier, but obviously she's a different character. She's an assassin, Balthier's a sky pirate. But the key thing here is that she can charm males while Balthier can charm females. So knowing that it was a good chance I was going to go up against several males here, I decided to go ahead and pick her and have a chance to woo some hearts here, if you will, to gain control or have AI control over one of his characters. Now the question is, who? Making a risky play here because she can go down very quickly. I'm going to get this Gafgarian on the AI control. Now it's my Balthier's turn as well. Trying to put a little bit of thought here because once again I have a suspect of how Drase is trying to play this out here, so I'm trying to use speed to my advantage. That's also the reason why I decided to go with Balthier and Celia over some other picks, is to try to avoid some potential issues down the road for myself. Go ahead and barrage Drace's Beowulf. Beowulf is another one of the 5 supports. Got a critical hit on one of those barrage takes. Beowulf has the ability to use Spellblade commands, which has the ability to augment buffs and debuffs. And he also has access to throw items, so he can toss various items from afar to aid his party. Now we're going to be going over to my Agrius. Alright. Let's see. Once again, like I said, I have to play this smart here. She is innate shell because of her Ragnarok, but considering Drace's team is mostly going to be physical, I do need to consider protect or try to go for the risky play here and start getting damage out on his team. I'll go ahead and wait her out here for a second. Decisions. The decisions. Run Telway and Agrius, so should bump her speed from 12 to 13. And now we should be on the Drase's team. So switching over to Drase's Ramza. So Ramza is a copy over from his from the generic Premades version over. Same exact guy, same stats, same everything. Because ultimately, I think he's in a good spot. He's actually was a model for a lot of our characters, especially our sword users, or sword knights. So, but otherwise, yeah, he's pretty good. He still can hit pretty hard on the Holy Sacrifice. His ability to drain health with Sanguine Sword. He has the ability to drain MP with Infernal Strike. He's going to go ahead and Abyssal Blade, or excuse me, not Abyssal, Unholy Sacrifice between his Gafgaren and Mycelia, which means that Gafgaren has now knocked out a charm, but we both have taken damage. And now it's Gafgaren's turn to act, which is pretty smart play by Drase. Gafgaren is a DPS. He has 2 blood swords and dual wield. Ideally, if you can strike with both swords, he will get the most value from that because he can get double healing per swing. But if you also want to, you can have him use Shadow Blade and get 1 source of healing with a little bit of distance. So you can either run him up in pure melee to get the most damage done and the most healing done, or you can play him at distance to get less damage and less healing done, but also, you know, out of safety. It looks like he's going to go for the Shadow Blade here. That's going to down Mycelia. It's the first KO of this game 2. Sadly, I didn't get to use her to the purest effectiveness because of the play he made with his Ramza, but still, she somewhat benefited me. Just didn't really get the chance to utilize her to what I was trying to aim for. Drase now positioning his Lucio up. Lucio is going to Chirurgia Raid in my Balthier. He has Protect Shield, so he will take less damage, particularly Shell. He's still going to hurt. 240. I will proc Adrenaline Rush, increasing Balthier's speed, and also increasing his damage because bows are based off of speed to some degree in calculation. And now hopping over to Drase's Beowulf. Alright, Beowulf is going for the Vengeance. Okay. That's going to hurt. Balthier is in critical condition here. He will proc another Adrenaline Rush here. His speed is very high. I believe he's at 16 now after taking 2 Adrenaline Rush procs. So hopefully if he can get his turn next, I'll be able to engage a little faster here. However, that is not the case. Drase's Orlando will still act because he gained no charge time before me. Or excuse me, charge turn. Charge time, charge turns, a little different. Alright, he's going to go with the Cloud Sea Curse. Will KO my Balthier, and that's the second KO on my team, my Yoshi's team. Drase is currently up 5-3 by units. Right now it's my time to act at this point. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and somewhat risky play here, but it's also because I am currently at a disadvantage. I'm going to go ahead and do Cloud Sea Curse as well. I'm trying to ideally get Slow off on a few of his members. Slow does not connect. Lucio will proc his MA boost, bring his MA up. It's going to increase the effectiveness of his Iato. Alright, Agrius, let's see what you got, baby. Alright, let's see if we can get that stop. It's gonna hurt me. I end up stopping my own unit, but also end up stopping Drase's Orlando. Alright, so both Orlandos are stopped currently. Once again, I had to kind of make a risky play here because I am at a very high deficit. Essentially what my thought process is that with Drase having a Beowulf in the back line, he's able to recover most things while able to push pretty hard with his Rams and Luso in particular. And Gafgaren is still a threat to not scoff at either. So yeah, I'm going to be in pretty fair trouble at this point. However, I am going to use both Orlando. It's not going to connect. I'm going to use both of them to essentially kind of act as a wall, even though Drase still should be able to go over them. Yeah, you can go through. He can go through his Orlando, but he cannot go through mine. So it'll be basically a funnel. We're moving on for the late shout here. Now, basically speaking, and just because of we're in a test here, YoshinJa will not go through Beowulf because of structure. It has to go through a wall, and it will not be able to cross over that way. So I was not in position to. We were not able to. What's up? The wise. Free height. Okay, so I mean somewhat, but not exactly accurate. So because of the structure, the wall itself being at a higher verticality than YoshinJa allows, it won't actually fire through to Beowulf. Yes. Alright, Rams is going to try to sanguine sword me from the wall. I will connect, of course. It is 100% guaranteed hit. So Luso will take 153. No magic boost proc from that damage. And Gafgaren's going to also go after Luso, shadow blading him as well. And no magic boost proc from that as well. And now it's Luso's turn. And Luso's going to advance to my back line here, which is pretty obvious at this point. He's going to trade in Agrias and Luso. That should KO Luso. Yes. We'll go down here, and Agrias is also going to be greatly injured from that attack. At this moment, Drase fully has the map. Orlando is stopped. His Orlando is stopped, and really the only character I have really available is Agrias, who's already injured. This is going to go ahead and Vengeance as well. Pretty good play there. Since I tried to take him down earlier, he's now able to return damage that he's taken back to enemies, and that's going to get rid of my Agrias. At this point, I no longer have an offensive line, and it's literally Drase versus my Orlando, who is currently stopped. So it's pretty much game 2 is his automatically just because of that. Not bad. He's gonna go and sacrifice. Both Orlandos are in critical condition from that. They're twinsies, and this should be a wrap with Gafgaren. Gafgaren will get the killing blow here on Orlando. Or that old man. Game 2 will go to Drase. G. Alright, so we're going to a third tiebreaker match, which is pretty obvious already. Alright. And that is going to be on Ziklea's Desert. Right, so let's go and get our chests here real quick, and we're going to launch that one as well. And joining. Alright guys, so once more, we're going to be starting up game 3. This will be the last match, or game in the match. Currently, we're both 1-1. What's up? Forgot what the map's at. Is it Clayus? It should be towards the bottom, I think. Yeah, it's right there. Alright, so we're going to be doing game 3 on Zaclaeus. This will be the determination for who actually wins the series at this point. We're currently 1 Drase, 1 Yoshi. And here we go. Let me select our team and get right to it. Alright, get ready to start up game 3 right now. On Zaclaeus Desert. Drase is the host, Yoshi is the guest or enemy. As I am the enemy, I will in theory have first action, but that will be dependent on who has the fastest speed. This is a medium to almost large size map. Almost. So we will both have potential setup time between, we'll say safely 2 to 3 turns, probably closer to 3, depending on what the enemy has for Drase's what Drase has, since he is my enemy in this game. Looks like I'm going to be starting off with my Lucette. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And we're going to tell when Mustadio who's going to go up 1 speed. Alright, swapping over now. So now I'm able to see Drase's actual party line. So we got Ygraph, Avelia, Alma, Orin, and Construct 8. Okay. I was a little afraid I might have seen that Orin coming up here. Ygraph's going to go ahead and channel Focus here. So it's going to increase his PA by 1. Ygraph is similar to our Berserker from generic premades. He's not as potentially deadly, but at first. But if you give him enough time to focus or take damage proccing his fury, he can actually become a very strong killing machine. I'm gonna have my Beowulf try to Faith Mustadio. I will connect. That means Mustadio now has the Faith buff. Faith buff treats his Faith as if it was at 100. This is going to be very important because Mustadio is set up as a DPS with dual guns, and each magic gun he has calculates with Faith, so the greater his Faith, the more damage he's potentially able to do. Alright, I'm going to end my turn here with Alma, and then we're going to be switching over to Drase's Alma. Drase is going to prepare Aegis on his Orin. I'm switching over to Avelia. Avelia, I think this is actually first night her being on stream. Avelia is basically a white mage. She's basically a pure healer, whereas Alma is I guess you could say is like a time support because she doesn't have a lot of healing. She can attack with her healing staff and she can use Champ, but that's really as far as healing goes for Alma. But Avelia is the main person you want to consider if you are wanting to have someone run like Raise, so you can revive the Fallen or use really strong Cure magic. She has access to Cure all the way to Karaja. Alright, so me and Drase's Orins are both channeling Celestial Stasis, which is pretty obvious going to happen right at the beginning of the game. We want to try to get those Stop and Mobilize Disables off so we can start pushing forward. I would. Yeah. But I have an idea of what Drase went for here. I think he kind of had an idea what I might have been going for too. Just to reference what I'm referring to, Alma, Velia, Ygraph, Orin, and Construct, so everyone on Drace's party actually is fully immune to Celestial Stasis. Alma and Velia are immune because they have ribbons, which gives them full status immunity. As long as it's not broken, which they can be broken, FYI. But Ygraph is innately immune because he is originally a boss. So he has immunities to stop, immobilize, and disable. And Construct 8 does not give a care about statuses outside of Confuse. So his full team is Orin immune, if you want to call it that, to my stasis. So me channeling my stasis probably wasn't the best idea. I actually didn't realize that, in particular, Ygraph, I think was who I was looking at. I didn't realize he had that until after the fact. But that's alright, I'm still channeling, and it's still going to be a while before we really get into pure engagement. Why did I do that? I just made a bad play there. But anyways. Alright, so this is the bad play here. I pushed my side out of his stage of positioning, so he would have gotten haste, or potentially would have gotten haste. Well, he would have because he's at 100 faith. But that's alright. Once again, I do have some time here, so that's one of those kind of maps where, you know, if you make a mistake, depending on when it occurred, especially in the early game, you usually can kind of fix it. But I am potentially burning turns to try to correct, so it's still not in my favor to mess up as normal. Because instead of, if I did that, then he would have already hasted. Now I gotta wait longer to get him in a position to do so. Alright, this is gonna be my stasis. It is already for certain that this will not connect on anyone because everyone is status immune. It shouldn't. Keyword. Alright, block should be a block on all 5. Correct. Yep. Okay, Avelia just straight up just missed. But either way, if it even would have missed, because stasis has a 5 or 50% chance to miss. So I think on Avelia it actually did miss from the roll. I actually can be affected by stasis here. Luso will get immobilized, disabled, but he is immune to stop, so he will not be stopped. And speaking of which, he's just going to outright end his turn. I'm going to faith my Alma as well. Faithing a healer in this point, or support, especially when they're relying on magics, will increase the percentage chance of that said magic to connect. Magics has the chance to fail. Each magic will compare between the caster's faith and the target's faith. So bringing her faith up to 100 will increase the likelihood of magics connecting, even if the target's faith is lower. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and set up Dispelno on my Luso. Dispelno will get rid of Disable, Immobilize. Alright, now that we're out of the way there, now in a perfect world, this isn't really the best map for Orin. We found out in a previous game with Wingman, because of the way the tiles are on this map. A lot of tiles are sitting on zeros, and or mostly zeros, so or 1, so you can't prime, which would be the lowest number to calculate with arithmetics. I'm going to double check just to make sure, but that should be the case. Hitting targets with arithmetic is going to be kind of poor, so ideally Drase's Orin's in a better position because I have some people who are able to be hit by it. My Orin is in a very bad position because Drase cannot be stasis whatsoever because of his team, and because of the map, arithmetics are not as effective. So this is one of those big parts where it matters what map you play on. It matters who you pick. If Drase had a team, a party that had immunity, or that was not immune to stasis, or even just being able to get immobilized or disabled, even if it was just 1 to 3, then Orin wouldn't have been bad. But right now, in all honesty, Orin is a bad pick for my team. So I would say I'm 4.5 instead of being at a full 5-man team, because right now I really cannot arithmetic unless we have people in the gully of the map, and I mean, that may or may not happen. I mean, it's almost like to say that probably won't happen, just because we both know that that wouldn't be the best place to go, at least for Drase's behalf. or even my best, since we both have an Orin. So, like I said, Orin's not really favorable right now for me. It's still favorable for Drase because I have people that are potentially able to be hit by his status effects. Anyhow, as we progress, Drase is now getting his Almond channeling abilities on magic, and he's going to push his Y-Graph forward, getting another focus. So I believe this is his +3 or +4 to his attack, to his physical attack at this point. So his Y-Graph is very dangerous towards my team. So this is the part where I'm going to need to be very cautious how I advance. I'm also aware that since I can't immobilize disable Y-Graph, he also is not subject to being aim shot with leg shot or arm shot. But I am still going to attack him. I'm going to use my dual guns here to get some damage done. He will proc a Fury, however, that's going to significantly raise Y-Graph's attack again. So he's a full-on threat to my party at this point. Now it's Luso's turn. He is back in action. Alright, let's see. I'm going to go in and speed up my Alma here. She's still not hasted, so she's still going to act slower than most people. But I do still have some time to get her prepared if I need to. Alright. Drase is going to Aegis his Alma, so she now has all crucial buffs on her, and Orin's going to recast Celestial Stasis. Once again, his Orin has the ability to potentially affect at least one of my characters, Luso. It will actually land on Beowulf, my Musadio, and Luso, so I am in big trouble here. Essentially, at this point, I have to dispel Spellna with Alma because she is immune because of Ribbon. So as they purposely have ribbons, so they always have a way out, or their picks for if you need someone to potentially combat against Orin, that you can always rely on Alma or Avelia to be able to recover because they have the ability to be immune and have the ability to cleanse. So that's still going to be a threat either way because I have to spend turns to break them out of that. At this point, if Drase wanted to be kind of mean and just constantly keep Celestial Stasis up, he could, and that's definitely what's happening. I see. Because once again, this map is not really in favor for Orin's arithmetics, but it is because of my team. It is in favor for Celestial Stasis. All right, but a key note here is when Orin cannot stasis an Orin because they're both of the same Cancer's zodiac sign. So because they are Cancer, and I'm noticing that now. In all honesty, it's fair game. That's why I brought Alma, because I had a feeling I might see an Orin. I didn't necessarily think I was going to go against an Orin, but I just brought her just in case. It's never a bad idea to bring an Alma or Avelia. We'll just throw that out there now. They have their purposes, for sure. Let's see. Alright. Alright, so it's Y-Graph's turn. Y-Graph is fairly injured, almost in critical HP here, but he is furied probably by +6 or +7, or excuse me, P8. There's another one. So he is, at this point, any attack he does should pretty much one-shot anything I have, even with Protect Shell up, I think. I imagine by the time he gets across the board, he's already going to be at +10, which should be safe to say that his physical power is going to be so high up that he's going to be able to just nuke anyone he looks at. So he is the full threat here on my team, so I need to take time now to prepare for said threat. Alright. We're going to be going back over to Drase's Alma. All right. So just to run down here, Alma's gonna go ahead and chant. So let me go and get that first part out there. She's gonna trade a little of her HP to restore some of Y-Graphs. That is gonna be one of Alma's main healing sources because she's mostly used for time magics, but she can either attack with her staff or use chant. Now, just a note with her staff, if the ally has protect, protect will still calculate and reduce the damage they take from the staff. Her staff will heal for 120 normally without any physical power buffs, but if they are protected, it will reduce from 120 to 80. So Velia is going to also prepare a cure spell on Y-Graph. Looks like Drase is trying to get his Y-Graph back to full health before initiating. And he's going to spin the earth real quick one more time. And it's going to reset, pretty much reset the Celestial Stasis buffs on my team, or debuffs on my team. So I still have ways out right now. My biggest concern is having to protect Alma, which is because she's the only one that can really, on my team, is unaffected besides Orin. And Orin's almost a sitting duck right now. Orin does have a book, and books hit for decent damage, but the target always has to be 3 panels, no greater, no less, from Orin at all times. Otherwise, you cannot target. So I always got to maintain a range of 3 for Orin to even do a normal attack. And which right now in Breath of Mythics is not going to be as effective, and I cannot stasis Drace's team. Big Daddy C's coming in. Time to dispose. He's personally one of my most favorite unique characters in the game. Alright, let's see. Can I do anything at this point? Looks like I can actually. Alright. Let's see, I should be able to actually get a height 3 arithmetic here, so I'm going to attempt to do that here. Yes, you can. Of course, once again, Construct's out of the question because he doesn't care about magics. So I'm not really looking at him, I'm looking at Y-Graph and Alma, potentially Velia in particular. Alright, I need to play this safe here. It should have. Because it falls off. Aegis buffs will fall off, yeah. Yeah, I think it can. Which is why I'm actually fine with Aegis. A little skeptical about it at first, but after seeing how it works, like Aegis, like Protect Shell will stay on for, I think it will stay on permanently, but Haste, Re-Raise, and Regen potentially can fall off fairly early. Alright guys, just gonna get a fire out here. It's gonna hit Mustadio. Construct doesn't care because he's atheist. Y-Graph takes some decent damage. That's gonna give a Y-Graph Fury again, however. Y-Graph is would be Batter Strike basically at this point once it comes in to my line. Alright, speaking of which, Man of the Hour. He is currently at 18 PA, which I believe he is at 11 initially. That sounds about right. I double check real quick, but I think he actually starts off with I think it's 11. So he's +7 right now in physical power, so he is definitely going to be making some people's heads spin in a second. Okay, he starts out with 12. It's 12, 11. So he is plus 6. Which honestly sounds like it would be more. But either way. Still, 18 still quite a bit of physical power increase. But the map allows you to do so, once again. So a lot of PvP here is going to be dictating on the map. If you know your opponent, sure, that might play a role too, but map really matters here. That's what's really important, to know the maps. If you don't know the maps, that's fine. Always get practice to learn the maps, because that's really going to dictate who is going to be effective. You know, stuff like this, where this is probably one of the better cases, because we both know that myself and Drase both know that Orin, and Orin in general, he can stasis anyone from any point of the map, any enemy from anywhere on the map. Doesn't matter where they're at, he can stasis them. However, you can build a team towards not being stasis, which is exactly what happened here. I'm assuming Drase had the idea that I was potentially going to run him because of the map itself, and he paid off in the favor that he made the right pick. So that is a part where prediction also plays a very strong role, knowing where your opponent's going to potentially play and then counter picking. I'm going to roll in those stasis. If they land, it's going to basically reset the debuffs on my characters, making it hard for me to break out of Orin's Celestial Stasis move. Alright. Drase's almost Aegis is going on Y-Graph. Y-Graph is now ready for combat basically at this point. And give him a little cure on top of that. Alright, now that Y-Graph is basically in my line, I have to play this very carefully, because he's pretty much in my house the next turn he makes. And at this point, I'm going to have to try to do what I can here to prepare myself, essentially. Alright, Drase's Orange going to height 3 fire. That's going to kill my Mustadio. Not good. Once again, Construct doesn't care about magics. I actually had he played an advantage play there, because I've already prepped a Dispelment on Mustadio to break him out. So if Alma does connect her Dispel, it will still not connect, because target is dead. And here comes Y-Graph. There's the... Okay, there's a 576, and she goes bye-bye. Now keep in mind she was channeling, so she will take more damage, but still the fact that you just swung that hard is a problem in itself, obviously. You do have double hand, good call there. Yes. Yes, that is also another feature. One, two, three. That's another feature I don't think we brought up at first when we talk about Y-Graph. So Y-Graph has, he's supposed to be like a person that has a wind up to Agrius. Agrius should be the quote-unquote, if you want the hardest, like, fast damage dealer, then Agrius is probably the go-to. Y-Graph requires a little bit of wind-up time, so Fury / Focus. But once he gets, I think, to 13 or 14 PA is when he starts outpowering Agrius. And he's on a rampage at this point, because not only we just noticed, but he also has that double hand. So double hand will double his weapon power. Not mistaken here, which he has a weapon power of 16 with his defender. So he has 32. 16. 16, yeah. So he has 32 weapon power technically, but it only works for attack. All right, that's the key thing. It only works for attack. It does not work with Holy Sword commands. But he is hitting for 576. So it's basically right now the attack formula is 32 times 18. So yeah, that's why we've seen a 576 there. Alma's defense boost, her innate defense boost will not matter, because she was cast timing, so it kind of just negated itself out. So even if she did have it, she still would have died, because there's so much damage coming in from Y-Graph right now that it wouldn't have mattered. He still would have cut her for at least 300 or so, which still probably would have KO'd her regardless. So right now, he is the main threat. To be honest, there's not really much I can do here unless I can break Beowulf free, because it's probably the only one that really can do anything. I mean, yeah, if I can get Lusso, I mean, Lusso wouldn't have enough time to do anything. And on top of that, Ygraph has re-raised. Now, if I do drop Ygraph, he will, like, his PA also reset, so he'll go back to 12 PA, which is great. Sure?
I'm not certain. I don't think.
Okay, I think they reset, but either way, even if they do reset, I'm still in a bad position because I really have no way to really recover now that both my supports are, well, one's KO'd and one's stopped. So Drase will just come on in at this point and say hello. That's true. Alright, so Velia is still prepping here where she's going to go, if she's going to do anything. Velia's going to be pushing over to my side now. Alright, Drase is making a play here. Looks like he's channeling either Karaga, more likely Karaga, based off the plus 207 off the forecast. So pretty much at this point, I mean, yeah, Lusso will get healed, but honestly, it kind of doesn't matter, because even if he, I mean, one, Lusso's at full HP anyway, so he's not benefiting from the heal. He's going to overheal still at 450, so he's still not, it's not going to do any good. This will, however, get Ygraph back to full health, and essentially with Ygraph's PA being so high, and I believe Lusso does not have Protect Shell long, he's going to take the full might of Ygraph's attack. So, okay, Drase is going to quick his Alma. Okay, interesting. Looks like he's going to try to get her across to set up on Ygraph again. If I had a guess, could be wrong here. He may or may not be able to because of range, but either way, he's giving himself more setup time. All right, we're just going to prep his Alma to cast a spell at the ground. Basically, this means that he is using turn order to position or get ready to position a character to get to that set AOE. We could consider this an advanced play here because he's using turn order, which is very, very, very vital in PvP. Knowing who's about to act next and when cast time abilities are about to go out, which is exactly what he's doing right now. He's already planned Alma's ability at that ground, and he has Ygraph in position to get said ability. He's going to go ahead and Hollow Bolt my Orin. Orin will go down from that, of course, for 360. And he did prep it quick, so he's trying to go for the back-to-back strike here. Quick will connect, so that gives Ygraph another strike here. I am basically donezo at this point. I still cannot really retaliate or act because Beowulf and Lusso both are disabled and immobilized, so I can't move them or make any actions. And Ygraph is now has the field. Ygraph is going to do another Hollow Bolt, clearing my Beowulf because he cannot move, so he was able to get both strikes. Hollow Bolt has a 5-panel cross range AoE. Alright, Drase is going to prep that Velia Karaga now. This was going to give Lusso some HP back, but once again, it doesn't really matter because even as it restores the HP back to me, Ygraph's in a position to basically 1 or 2 shot Lusso anyways. Here, give me a little bit of healing. Alright, heard that. Alright, my Musadio is back up from being dead. He had re-raised from Aegis earlier, so he now has the ability to act. Now, just letting you guys know now, this is really the only character I can act with, so the play I make here has to be crucial. And on top of that, if we're looking at the main threat, which is definitely Y-Graph, I cannot immobilize or disable him because leg shot and arm shot are immune to him. So that's not going to work at all. So my plays are automatically bad, for better word. That's alright. Let's see. Bailey is actually in the way. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and make a risky play here. My goal is to try to get Faraga and Blizzaga to both connect. Obviously, that one did not connect. And the other one did not either. I wasn't able to make a lot of plays here. Either way you look at it, Y-Graph will once again Fury proc and get stronger from being under attack. Basically, I can't attack Construct because he doesn't care about magics, which means Musadio's magic guns will not do anything to him. Ovelia and Alma, they cannot be disabled or mobilized because of their ribbons. So even if I attack them, they also have innate arcane defense, which reduces magic damage taken by 33%. So even shooting them wouldn't have really mattered. Really, my main threat is Y-Graph. As we had already noticed, I had to get a level 3 spell to even potentially have a chance to take him down there, which did not happen. I think even if I did get Faraga and Blizzaga, it still would not have killed him because he still has Shell on. It would have just possibly put him in critical condition if they both landed. But sadly, I got the level 1 spells there, so that didn't really matter. And Oran's going to chill in the back and stasis me, potentially putting Musadio back in stop and mobilize disable state if it connects. And it did miss on Musadio, so there's that 50% chance working in my favor. Musadio is still in critical condition, but he will not be stunned from that. Drase going to advance his Alma behind his Y-Graph. He's going to prep the dirty work for another quick here. He's going to try to get Y-Graph basically a back-to-back turn. And yes, it is Y-Graph's turn, so at this point, with him having... Oh, that crit though. Oh boy. Alright. Y-Graph is on a killing spree at this point. He's basically down my entire team. With the aid of Orin earlier, keeping my team down because of stasis, celestial stasis. So I really, once he's gotten across and kept that stop and mobilize disable up, it's made it a lot easier to Y-Graph do his work. Quick is going out, more likely going to connect. It will connect, so Y-Graph immediately will get his turn again, and I believe that is going to be a GG for me, as he's in position to get the last strike. He's not going to try to risk him. He's going to make sure he has to stay with the guaranteed Holy Sword. Musadio will go down, and that is the end of Game 3. Drase is the winner of the match. Good game, sir. That was definitely an interesting game. Honestly, I liked how that game played out, even if I did not win, because it showcased the power more so of Uniques, and this where map and ally selection mattered the most. It also shows the very critical weakness of Warren, which, no one has really vouched that he's going to be very overpowered or potentially very, very dangerous. But it does show that he, in general, has a lot of weaknesses. His main weaknesses are the enemy team being innately immune to immobilize, disable, and stop. Of course, there's always a 50% chance to miss, just like there's a 50% chance to hit, but if you want to really be prepared for an Orin, potentially, make sure you always have Alma and or Avelia, one or both, because those two will always have a ribbon. Cloud even is an option there because he has a ribbon as well. Balthier is an option because he's character-wise innately immune. Ygraph's another option because he's also character-wise innately immune. And Construct 8 because he is also character-wise innately immune to Orin Celestial Stasis, as well as Orin to himself because they're the same zodiac sign. Besides that, basically at that point, if you think that you're going up against an Orin and you're not necessarily selecting those characters for your composition, then you definitely want to automatically have Alma Revelia because Dispel No will cleanse of all those negative status effects. And at this point, you really need to consider, the map's going to play a big role there. Once again, this map is... Zyklaea's Desert is a map where it's questionable in general because Orin's arithmetics don't really work well there, right? Like, I was only able to arithmetic towards the end. That was only because at the midpoint, the tile height becomes 2. Like, once you get to the middle of the map, besides dropping it to the gully. But at the highest point, it's 2 height. So, yes, I could target then, but that's it. So, like, half the game, I can't really arithmetic, but I can stasis from anywhere on the map. So, yeah, that's one of those points where, like, Orin's strong, but also Orin can potentially be bad. Or, well, I wouldn't, bad's not the right word. Better to say ineffective. Overall, I think he's in a good spot, but you do need to consider that if the opponent might run him, always have at least Alma or Revelia on your team at all times, because those two cannot be affected by him automatically, and those two are the main ones to break you out of said effect. Anyways, Drase, do you have any closing thoughts or anything of the sort here before we call it a night for the stream?
No. Everybody's watching right now has a question. Anything? Try to clear.
Okay. We don't have any questions that gone on in chat, so I think we're good there. But yeah, this was our first pre-made battle test. This is it was Drase point of view versus Yoshi, the person that's on the mic with you guys. We did a best of 3 series. Drase won 2-1. First game, I actually enjoyed the first game because I think I played it fairly decent. Just like having a lot of control over Drase's team. Second game, map was a lot harder for me to work with, so I tried to potentially counterpick something that I figured Drase was going to go with, which was Celia, which is the reason why I had Celia. Sadly, however, he took advantage of the fact that Charm can be easily broken by damage. It doesn't matter where, as long as they take damage. So he damaged his Gafgaren, which ultimately broke him out of that, which I obviously did not want, but he did do it to keep his team, or keep Gafgaren from potentially wrecking his team, because having those dual swords smacking around people could be potentially threatening in his backline. So he did that to protect the team. So, good play on his behalf, battle for me, because then I lost Celia, so she didn't really, at the long run, she -1 for me. Like, I really didn't get much benefit out of her. She got a charm off, yes, but at the end, did Gafgaren do anything with said charm? No. So that was a -1 on my pick. Well, not pick, but like play rather. Maybe I could say I could have probably kept her back a little bit longer before trying to do anything. Maybe could have used Suffocate, which is a guaranteed KO if her and the target are the same height. I could have done stuff like that. But either way, game 2 was nice overall. And same thing with game 3 was interesting in the fact that we figured out, you kind of noticed how Orin could be played effectively or ineffectively.
Real quick.
Yep.
While we have a couple seconds, why don't you just go ahead, for anybody that's tuning into the stream or anybody that's watching the pod on YouTube, why don't you go ahead and just kind of give a little brief explanation on all the characters. I know we may not have played all the characters tonight, so let's get at least a little bit of a review to anybody that might still be watching.
Alright, sounds like a plan. Alright, so we'll start off with 0-1 here, and it's Agrias. Agrias, and just speaking of which, Agrias all the way down to, I believe, Alistair is going to be DPS. But we'll start from her. Let me go into White. Okay. Okay.
And then
And I go from Alma down to Avelia. Alright. What's up, Crow? How you doing? We're just wrapping up here our match for the night. Then also let's do a brief explanation of all the uniques in the roster. So Agrias is the first damage dealer. She uses her Holy Sword to do a lot of damage. She has a Ragnarok, which means she has innate equipped shell. Yes, matches are. Yeah, we just wrapped up our game 3, Crow. Yep. We're just kind of going over characters real quick that are in the unique pre-made roster. Agrias is probably going to be one of your strongest picks if you want raw damage. She has Faith Boost, which gives her a chance to improve her Faith, which ultimately Faith would increase the effectiveness of her white magics, which is Cure and Holy. Outside of that, she's pretty strong in general. She's got 12 speed, which is going to be the norm for most DPS in general. So overall, good pick if you want to just have some real guaranteed damage right off the bat.
Kind of well balanced, would you say?
Well balanced, yeah. That's probably a better way to put it. Yep.
The uniqueness for each Holy Knight, for instance. Just kind of go into a little bit of depth. Like, what's the difference between each one and why? Why are they different? Does that make sense?
Why are they different, you say? Okay. Alright, so Agrias has the first 2 Holy Knight abilities, Judgment Blade and Cleansing Strike. Judgment has a chance to stop the targets that are in the AoE. And Cleansing Strike has a chance to apply Doom to anyone that was affected by it. Cleansing Strike can only target 1 person, while Judgment Blade can hit up to 2. Those are, however, the weakest abilities in the Holy Knight line. So even though she is strongest by like the initial, she has the weakest of the abilities. As we go down the list, technically Divine Ruination is the strongest ability, but Orlando has it, and he's set up to where he doesn't do a lot of damage with it because he's support. But well, we can go a little bit further than that. But yeah, she has the first 2 abilities, so the weaker part of the damage, but she is in general strong because of her Ragnarok having 24 weapon power. But her PA has been adjusted to make sure that she's not too overbearingly strong in general. The next Holy Knight user should be technically the lead. No, we're in DPS. Should be Ygraph, yeah. So Ygraph, he is like the slower variant of Agrias. He starts off on a lower PA skill. If you notice, the icons look funny, like Ygraph's a girl. This is because the party roster is bugged because these characters, like Ygraph's an actual boss in the game, and he wasn't initially supposed to be in a party roster, so the game is kind of like glitching him out in a degree, but he is there once we get into an actual battle. Anyway, so he has Northswain Strike and Hollowed Bolt, which are 2 of the more stronger Holy Knight commands. Hollowed Bolt has a chance to silence and is AoE, and Northswain Strike has a chance to KO and only target 1 person. But he is initially a build-up character. You have to use Metal's Focus to increase his PA, which is what Drase did earlier in Game 3. Or you can use his Fury, which means he has to take damage, and he has a chance to increase his PA. He has 71 Bravery, so there's a pretty decent chance to get it, as we noticed in the match as well. To increase his physical strength, which is going to ultimately increase his Holy Sword damage, because Holy Sword also calculates with his physical power. Now, another thing with Ygraph is, even though he's a little slower, he can be obviously very devastating, as we also once again noticed in Game 3. He has Double Hand, which increases his weapon power by double, but only when he's using attack. The attack command, not Holy Sword, but attack. So you can potentially risk him to do a lot of damage because attacks have to go through evasion. So you could risk a much greater amount of damage by using an attack because he's double-handed, or you can use Holy Sword, which is always a guaranteed hit, and potentially do less damage, but then you're guaranteed the hit. And also, Holy Sword has a little bit of range, whereas the attack command, you have to be 1 panel beside the target. So they both are they're both complement each other, but they're also different in that sense. Let's go with the next person real quick. So next person is Argath. Once again, he is bugged in the roster, but he is there in game. This is the zombie version of Argath. If you played War of the Lions in particular, there's a fight that actually showcases him. We decided to bring this guy in instead so that he has a little bit of unique variance. The reason why he's unique is because he has a curse ring, so he's technically undead. And that means that he's susceptible to like healing magics, things of that sort. He also has a 50% chance if he is KO'd to potentially resurrect once his death timer runs out from 3 to 0. Besides that, he has Fell Sword commands, so Shadow Strike, or Shadow Blade and Dust Blade. which both of those allow you to absorb either HP or absorb MP. And he also has time magics, which are a little bit on the slow side, but potentially can be very devastating. He has Gravity, Graviga, and Meteor. Now, just kind of throwing out here as a little trick here, let's take a look at his stats real quick, particularly his Brave and Faith. So obviously he's very low Faith, so once again, Faith plays a big role in the damage and the chance for magics to land. So if you want Argath to be potentially effective in the magic scheme, you may want to potentially bring his Faith up. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Anyways, let's go to the next guy. Balthier, he's our Sky Pirate, tried and true, FF12. He innately has Safeguard because he is a Sky Pirate, so he cannot have his gear broken, which is going to be important, especially against Meliadal or even Orlando, for example. He's running a bow here. His bow is a wind element based bow. He's able to do some pretty decent damage with his barrage. His barrage is 40 times 4, so 160 hits, 160 damage against protected targets. He also has Geomancy that has a chance to, it's going to hit fairly weak, but it's a chance to potentially status the enemy. So you have some options here. His Adrenaline Rush not only increases his already fast 14 speed, but also the more Adrenaline Rush he gets, the more damage he does, because bows calculate with speed included in the damage. So yeah, as well as fast returns, of course. But he is, Balthier and Celia are the two fastest characters in our roster with a base speed of 14. Alright, next character. Celia, she is one of the assassin, I almost say assassin twins, that you meet in the story. She's one of the bosses. She is she's pretty interesting character. The one thing I like about her right off the bat is because she's female and she has access to charm, which means that she can charm males, which a majority of the unique roster is male. So she automatically has some very potential plays there right off the bat. Besides that, her very we haven't seen yet, but very potential powerful move, Suffocate, which is a guaranteed KO against anyone who's not immune to KO, as long as they are on the same vertical, on the same height. So she can walk up to him, suffocate, boom, dead, or just like that. But she's got to get in position. They got to be in position, and she's potentially risking her neck to do it. So there is some trade-off there. She might be able to get somebody quickly, but she also potentially is going to go down. She also has very low HP because of that. So she is the lowest HP, I believe, out of all characters in the roster, including Orin, because of that. So that she can be played risky. She's very quick, but she's also very lean in that sense. She has dual wield because she's innately has dual wield, so she has dual katanas, so she's able to strike pretty hard with the katanas. She has martial arts for a little bit of range variety if you want to get some Aura Blast off or potentially apply Doom. You can do that too, and as well as having Ultima in her assassin kit as well. But overall, pretty nice character. She's the second fastest character in the roster. Next guy is Cletane. Cletane is another boss enemy you fight in the story. Tried and true sorcerer. He has some extremely strong single target abilities: Holy Flare, Graviga, and Unholy Darkness. Unholy Darkness, since normally most people haven't seen it, is the dark version of Holy, or dark element version of Holy. But anyways, his single target abilities hit extremely hard. This is like even with Shell, so it's still probably easily like high 200s going into the 300s, depending on the enemy and depending on their faith, because faith is once again calculated here. But if you faith him or raise his faith up and he starts going after people, he can nuke a lot of people. He has teleport so that he can get around the map potentially very easily. He has summons to where you can put a summon on a friendly and have them run in, potentially bomb the enemy. And he also has the strongest summon in the game, Zodiark, which obviously takes a little bit of time to wind up, but can potentially nuke people as well. Alright, next we got Cloud here. Cloud Strike from Final Fantasy VII. He's also here in the roster. He is a copy over from the generic pre-made roster. He is one of the few. He's one of the 3 characters that has a ribbon. He can actually wear a ribbon in the game. If you guys didn't already know this, but ribbon protects against all status effects. So as long as he's got that on, he can't be like Orand or like Geomancy, stuff like that. So he is safe in that regard. His limit skills or his limit breaks can be used in a variety of ways. His cross slash is fairly strong, hitting AoE that can only target the ground. His Blade Beam does damage based on the amount of HP he has lost to the target. His Clem Hazard does damage based on what the target's HP loss is. His Meteor Ranges does outright strong damage. and Finishing Touch has a chance to, or excuse me, it's not a chance, it's a guarantee KO, stone, and stop to the ground. None of these limit abilities can target anyone. They can only target tiles. But if you time and if you check your turn order, you could potentially land these abilities. But Finishing Touch can land all three of those, which can be very devastating to the enemy. And Omni Slash is going to be his key strong damage skill. This thing can easily hit for 500 to 700 easy if you can time it right. But yeah, Cloud's pretty nice in general. We haven't used him in a little bit, but I think he still has a pretty nice home in the Unique Premade roster. He also has some monk skills here, just in case his Materia Blade is broken, because Materia Blade is required for his limit abilities. So if the enemy does like Crush Weapon, and he loses Materia Blade, then he becomes useless without his martial arts. So he has martial arts there to at least have some damage capabilities. His Nature's Wrath is also pretty nice, returning Geomancy damage to anyone who attacks him. Alright, moving on to the next one. Gavgarin. Gavgarin, pretty cool guy. He is running dual blood swords. He has dual wield, if you hadn't already noticed, so he can strike twice with those. For each strike of his blood sword, he gains that much in health back. So he ideally can be played from up close or from afar. His Fell Sword allows you to get a one-time Shadow Blade, which is kind of similar to Blood Sword, but it kind of gives him a little bit of safety if you don't want to have him rush. But if you want to get the most damage done with Gavgarin, in most cases, you always want to get into melee range, one panel range, and then do the attack command and attack twice with his blood swords. Besides that, he has black magics, which are fire-based magics and death. So fire, Firaga, and Faraja, as well as death. All five abilities can be very devastating if you build them up to a certain way, particularly in the faith category. All right, next guy. Luso. So Luso is he's our magic equivalent to Ramza, which we'll get down to in a little bit. But essentially, Ramza has been known for his unholy sacrifice and his sanguine sword plays, and Luso is going to be known for his Iato plays. They both have metal, which Huntcraft on Luso is basically just metal, Ramza's metal. So they have access to Shout, Steel, Tailwind, Chant, Ultima. But he also, let me move this back here real quick. But he also has access to the Ayato skills, Kikijamunji and Churia Raiden. Churia Raiden is Luso's equivalent to Ramza's Unholy Sacrifice, so that's a specific reason why he has it. And Kikijamunji gives Luso the ability to play range, whereas Ramza has to play in always to mid to close range. So Luso can be played a little differently from Ramza, so there are some differences there. Luso is also technically the bulkiest of the damage dealers, sitting at 450, which is our HP cap for damage. So if you want to go with someone who's got the most HP, Luso is going to be your guy. He also has access to support abilities, theoretically, so you can be played as a buffer to some of your allies as well. But otherwise, he's one of my favorites here, just because of the way he plays out. All right, next guy, Merrick. So Merrick has got a couple interesting things here. Merrick's nether mantra calculate where the less faith you have, the more damage you deal, and the less faith the enemy has, the more damage they take. So ideally, with Merrick having 31 faith, he's automatically going to be in a good spot to deal damage. And if you target someone like Argath who has 25 faith, he's really going to be in trouble potentially. Argath will be, because he's going to be sitting at low faith, and the more damage and less faith you have, the stronger his nether mantra abilities become. He's got access to lightning-based abilities. He's got access to fire-based abilities, access to wind, water, and earth. So you got a variety of abilities you can pick there. Each one has different cast speeds. And each nether mantra ability, when they fire, they will target 5 panels in a cross formation, and each one has a random roll. So it will sometimes hit in one spot and hit in another. So if your enemy is clumped up, for example, that's probably going to be a good time to potentially use another mantra ability. Besides that, he also has access to a few darkness abilities, which are Crushing Blow and Abyssal Blade. Crushing Blow is pretty strong single target damage ability that has a chance to apply stop, and Abyssal Blade is a pretty strong conal ability that also drains some of Merrick's HP. So it's kind of similar to Ramza to a degree. Obviously, it's different in a lot of ways, but it has a little bit of like AoE. If you need some instant action AoE, you can go that route. But he's trading health to do so, or you can go the route of Crushing Blow to do a lot, pretty decent damage with a chance to stop. He also has Soulbind to kind of go along with his Hell Knight theme, which is what he was originally called in the PSX version, to return damage that he takes back to the enemy and recover his health. So he can be fairly sustainable. Alright, who's the next guy? Alright, Mustadio. Alright, this is one of my own favorites. Mustadio, we have him set up to wield 2 guns, which is not normal in normal case for the game, but we have him set up with 2 guns here, so he actually can dual wield attack with both guns, which is pretty awesome, I have to say. But he's got a blaze gun, so a fire-based magic gun, and a glacial gun, which is a ice-based magic gun. He still has his aim shot, which is a chance to disable or a chance to immobilize. His leg shot or arm shot. And he also has access to level 2 black magics as well, in case you want to go the route of like pumping up his faith and then potentially going the cast route instead of using the dual route. But one thing I like about Mustadio in general is that the fact that his guns are always ranged, and guns always will land against everything except for Shirodori, which no one has Shirodori, I believe. So he's always going to be one of those kind of people that will always, you can always guarantee to get like ranged pig damage. But keep in mind, once again, the enemy's faith and his faith do matter in the calculation of guns, magic guns. So if for any reason the target has atheist, or if he has faith, or if it's someone like Construct who has innate atheist, they're going to be very bad. Like, he's going to be very bad trying to attack those guys. So Mustadio versus Construct 8's not going to be favorable in his condition. Besides that, he's pretty awesome. Magic counter allows him has a chance to return magics that were cast back at him, back at the target, which may be a good thing for later use, like Clatane using Holy on him, and he's surviving, and he ends up Holy and Clatane back, for example. But yeah, overall good character, in my opinion. Auron, he is probably one of the main highlights of the night, especially in Game 3. He has one of the most interesting abilities in the game as a unique called Celestial Stasis. It has a 50% chance to apply, but applies to all enemies on the field regardless of where they're at. They have a chance to be stopped, immobilized, and disabled. Now, if a character has immunities to stop, immobilized, disabled, they can't be stopped or immobilized or disabled depending on those set immunities. However, there are a few characters in the pre-made roster that actually have full-on immunity, such as Cloud with his ribbon, because that will prevent all, or Alma or Avelia, which also have the ability to prevent those statuses. Balthier is another one because of his innate immunity. Ygraph's another one because of his innate immunity. And Construct 8 because Construct 8 cannot be targeted by those statuses except for Confused. So either way, there's 5 characters in the roster, and Auron cannot affect the Auron, of course, as well. But a couple people in the roster in case you're kind of worried that there's going to be an Auron coming up. Besides that, he has his height-based arithmetics, which can only target people at certain heights. He has access to black magics, level 2 black magics, as well as gravity and poison. So he has a fair sense of variety of abilities he can utilize. And of course, Auron can be played ranged at all times because of the way Celestial Stasis work and the way arithmetics work. So he's one of those kind of people you always want to keep in the back line, not much reason to push at any point. Next up is Ramza. Ramza is going to be he's normally our baseline character for a lot of our builds here. He is fairly tanky, or better yet, he's fairly evasive because of his parry. His defender has 60% parry evasion, so he's automatically going to be evasive against a lot of things coming in at the front. He has metal abilities, which provide support, just kind of like Luso's Huntcraft, which is actually named after metal. So he can provide speed buffs, bravery buffs. He can increase his own stats. Or he can even heal nearby friendlies, or even use ultimate potentially if you boost his faith up. Besides that, his his darkness abilities give him the ability to sap HP, sap MP, or potentially do a lot of damage in an AoE at the trade-off of losing health. And he also has a chance to slow people with Unholy Sacrifice. All in all, Rams is I feel like he's a very overall balanced character. If you want like reliable characters to work with, he's definitely gonna be one of your high picks. Switching off of Ramza, I think we're going to Rafa. Yep. So Rafa is the female similar equivalent to Merrick. Her Sky Mantra abilities do not calculate with faith whatsoever. So instead of where Merrick requires low faith to be most effective, she does not require faith at all. She doesn't look at faith in her calculations. So her magic's a little different there. She has the same elemental magic lineup as Merrick, besides that, she has summons, so she has the chance to put summons on friendlies or put summons on enemies and potentially do AoE damage. She also has the ability to, let me see, magic counter as well, so if she is attacked by magic, she has the ability to return magic. She didn't get used tonight. I'd like to see her get a little bit used later in, but one unique note with her is she has a Sage's Robe, which has the ability to cut down on all elemental damage taken in half. So if you're worried about stuff like Mustadio or potentially an Orion with arithmetics, like she can absorb, or not absorb, but she can cut down a lot of the damage coming in. Also, she has immunity to immobilize and disable, which is most of the Orion's problems in the long run, but she still can be affected by stop. Yeah. Next person we have up is Ygraph. We kind of touched bases on him already, so I'm not going to really go into a lot of detail again. But he is overall a slow build-up, but also very devastating and dangerous character once he starts getting set up, as we noticed in Game 3. Alright, going over to our tank line. Alistair is the first one. He is a boss character. Or you gotta say it's like Beowulf's other half to a degree. Alistair is set up to use his spell blade abilities, which provide a lot of buff and debuffs. You could use this to kind of alter targets to kind of bend to your will, if you will. Like you can use Faith to set up someone's Faith stat to temporarily to 100, which means they're more susceptible to magic and able to do more magic damage. You can use Berserk to cause the player to lose control of their character, but then they also are going to do potentially more damage to you. So it's a trade-off. The spell is also used to get rid of positive buffs on enemies or allies alike if you need to. Besides that, he also has access to Speechcraft, which also allows you to do some more altering. He has the ability to lower bravery significantly with Intimidate. He has Stall, which has the ability to reduce someone's CT count from whatever number they are to 0. CT is used to determine who's about to act next, so you can use that to potentially shut down someone's turn, just like Quick is used to potentially give someone a turn immediately. Praise is used to also increase bravery, and Condemn also has a chance to apply Doom to a target. Alright, next tank we have up is Construct 8. He is our first monster in the lineup. There's 2 monsters in the lineup. He is definitely interesting. He is immune to all status effects except for Confuse. He's also elemental immune to everything except for water, but he is weak against lightning. Any lightning that is not faith-based. So this will be a part where Rafa's, I believe it's her Heaven's Wrath, would be very important against Construct if you're looking at taking the Construct 8 down very easily. Besides that, he is a very bulky tank. He has a lot more HP on purpose because he doesn't have abilities or equipment, so we give him more health to compensate. Plus, in addition to that, his task commands drain his HP every time you use one of those commands, depending on which ability you use. So each one has different ranges. Dispose is probably your most go-to one because it is a 8 range. It can do 100 damage flat to anyone. So it's really nice chip damage, and you could kind of do it from the comfort of your team's positioning on top of that. Otherwise, he's a pretty awesome character. He's probably one of my favorite monsters in general in the game, just because of like how he works and how he's like immune to a lot of stuff, and how he doesn't care about magic because he's atheist. And that's also because he has 0 faith. All right. So next guy is Delita, Tried and True. He is our he's kind of like a DPS tank hybrid. He has access to Holy Swords, which allow him to do a lot of damage. He actually has access to every Holy Sword command except for Divine Ruination. So he has the chance to KO, or excuse me, stop. He has the chance to Doom. He has the chance to KO. He has a chance to silence and apply AoE damage. And lastly, he has the chance to heal an ally that's at close range for the cost of his own HP. Besides that, he has Arts of War abilities. I believe he's the only one that has Arts of War in the Unique Premade lineup. He has the ability to potentially break gear on top of potentially rendering or reducing a target's MP. Besides that, Delita's pretty nice in general. He's got a lot of bulk. He's able to take a lot of hits. He's fairly evasive because of his defender and parry, as well as his shield and the way he's set up. Alright, next guy we have up is Meliadel, or Check rather. She's going to be a potential threat to a lot of characters because her Unyielding Blade abilities have a guarantee destroy weapon, destroy armor, or destroy helmet. And as long as she's targeting someone, she always has a 100% chance to break unless they have safeguard, which at that point means that she cannot break them. Besides that, breaking several characters, so let's say for example Agrias or Ygraph, if you break their weapon, their sword, they no longer have access to their holy sword abilities, which is going to be very important because, like you noticed earlier, Ygraph was very threatening with having a sword. Even he couldn't double hand his sword, which means I wouldn't have really worried about as much damage coming in on top of that. Besides that, she also has access to Geomancy. Her Geomancy isn't that strong, but it's purposeful. It's mostly just for statusing. In case like the enemy's already broken apart, or you just want to get some range chip damage, because Geomancy has a lot of range, or you just need potentially try to get a status effect off. Besides that, her gear is protected through Safeguard, so she cannot break another melee auto, for example. And she also has Soulbind, allowing her to potentially return damage taken back to the enemy and healing from the damage returned. Who we got next? Reyes. Reyes is a pretty interesting tank. She is probably one of the more bulky tanks because she has a lot of elemental resistances thanks to her Minerva Bustier. Besides that, she has Gungnir, which is a lightning-based polearm, which can actually be used against Construct 8 effectively. So he takes a lot more damage from attacks with her. She also has access to her dragon abilities, which are Ice Breath, Fire Breath, Thunder Breath, and Holy Breath. The first three breaths do elemental damage, and they go target one person within a 4-directional zone. The Holy Breath, however, is a lot different. It picks an area, or you pick an area, and it has a chance to apply holy damage from 1 to 10 times at random. So it can hit any tile that's in the AoE, either back to back or not at all, up to 10 times. So she can potentially do a lot of damage. She's going to be one of those characters that you want to bring in or like push forward when the enemy's kind of clumped up to get the most damage out. Besides that, she has Dragon Hearts, so she has a chance to apply re-race herself, but her bravery is very low, so there's a very low chance that she can get it, but there is a chance that she can get it nonetheless. And she also has her Yato skills, which are Kiyomori and Mace Immune. Like I don't have it set up correctly on that. But just to run over, Kiyomori allows AoE Protect Shell on your friendlies, and Mace Immune allows for AoE Haste and Regen on your friendlies. So she's a very good buffer character if you want to start off with getting buffs out early. She's probably going to be your go-to gal. Alright, next up is Alma, so we're going to be going into the last line, the support line. Alma is she's a mage that utilizes Holy Magics and Time Magics. Holy Magics is unique to Alma and Ovelia. They both come with Aegis and Dispelna. Aegis allows you to apply Re-Raise, Haste, Regen, Protect, and Shell, but can only go to one person at a time. And Dispelna basically frees any ally of pretty much every negative buff that you can think of. Now, there's a few stuff like Berserk doesn't get cleansed, things like that. It's not everything, but it is most things that you'll encounter in most cases. Besides that, Alma has an additional ability, Chant, in her Cleric line that allows her to apply up-close healing. Now, Alma doesn't actually have any like healing magics outside of Chant. She can either use Chant or she can use her healing staff with a regular attack to attack an ally, and instead of doing damage, it heals them up. Time Magics is used to apply Hastasia, Slowja, Immobilize, or Quick, which can be used, all four can be used in utility. Immobilize to keep an opponent in place. Quick can be used to potentially give a ally another turn quickly. Slowja can be used in AoE to slow down your enemy's speed or cut down their speed in half. And Hastasia can be used to increase your speed by double. Alright. Besides that, she's also one of the few people that has a ribbon besides Cloud and Ovelia that protects her against all status effects. Alright, now switching over to Beowulf. Beowulf has he's got some interesting play here. He has Spellblade, which is similar to Alistair, so he has access to a lot of different varieties of abilities you can use. He's got Drain that allows him to sap HP from an enemy. He's got Faith, which allows him to augment allies or even the enemy's faith value to temporarily be at 100. He's got Doubt, which allows their faith to temporarily become 0, or Atheist. He also has Zombie, which causes them to be susceptible to healing and also Phoenix Down or Raise. and he also has access to Dispel, Sleep, and Vengeance. Dispel being able to remove positive effects, Sleep a chance to apply Sleep, and Vengeance, which we saw in Game 2 tonight, where the more damage he's able to return damage that he's taken back at someone. So he can be played pretty decently. He also has throw items, so you can toss items from afar like Phoenix Down or X Potion, stuff like that if you need to aid your allies very quickly. Besides that, his Aegis Shield's also very nice because he also has a lot of magic evasion. Alright. Next up, one of my favorites, Byblos. He's the second monster in the roster, second and last monster in the roster. He's got some really unique and interesting abilities here. Energize allows him to heal an ally for 180 HP, but he also loses, I believe, 90 HP for doing so. So he trades his health to heal friendlies. Parasite, which is one of the more interesting abilities. It has a 25% chance to apply Stone, Blind, Confuse, Silence, Oil, Toad, Poison, or Sleep. So it goes through each one and it rolls 25% chance to apply each set ability, which can really cripple a lot of enemies that are not immune to certain effects. Vengeance is kind of the same about Beowulf. Since Byblos has the ability to drain his HP with Energize, you can kind of counter with a Energize into a Vengeance combo as he gets low health. And Mana Burn allows him to deal damage based on the enemy's current MP. So if they have a lot of MP and they haven't really used it up, he can actually do a lot of damage with that. Besides that, Byblos should normally be in the back row where he's casting Energize and Parasite more frequently than not. We got two more to go through. Orlando is support, but he's also mixed support and damage. He's got Excalibur, which makes him technically the fastest character to act because he has auto haste. So he's like, as long as you got Orlando in your team, he's technically going to be one of the first ones to always act first. Besides that, he has swordplay abilities, which in his case are a variety of things. He has Divine Ruination, which is a 4-directional move that has a chance to deal damage, or does damage, and has a chance to apply Confuse. He also has Crush Accessory, which has the ability to destroy a target's accessory, like guaranteed, as long as they don't have Safeguard. And Shadow Blade, a way for Orlando to sustain his HP if he needs to. Besides that, he also has access to some Yato abilities, such as Murasame, which will provide AoE healing to allies. Ama no Murakamo, which is a AoE, little bit of AoE damage, has a chance to slow enemies, and Kiyomori, which applies Protect Shell to allies. So he's a really good buffer character, and also just overall good to have because he has that quick heal, and also has some potential damage. All right, and last but not least, Avelia. She's going to be our pure healer in this roster. She has access to Aegis and Dispelna, which once again applies some really great buffs or can remove a lot of debuffs. She also has access to the stronger end of the white magics, Cure 1 through 4. She has Raise, so she has the ability to re-raise allies, just like Beowulf has the ability to throw Phoenix Downs. But her Raise is going to give you a lot more HP if it connects. She also has Regen, which allows you to apply healing over time at the end of each character's action. Besides that, she's also equipped with ribbons, so she cannot be statused as long as she has that. And with her white robe, she also takes half damage from fire, ice, and lightning-based elements. Besides that, that is basically it. So, yeah, that was a rundown through all 24 characters in the Unique Premade roster at this current point. Now that we've gone through all that good stuff, I think we are, I think we're good to go for the night, right? Yeah, I know I am. All right. So thank you guys for once again tuning in and checking everything out. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream for the night. So we'll be ending at 2 hours and 14 here. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was Drase versus Yoshi, best of 3. Drase was the winner, 2-1. And after that, we went over the pre-made roster for Uniques. If you guys are interested in joining us, feel free. We always love to have more people come in, want to get some PvP going on, or want to check out the new stuff we're making. So feel free to join the Discord, which is towards the bottom of this Twitch channel. It's free. Simply hop in, and you can join us right away if you want. All right, well, you guys have a good night, and I'll catch you on the next time.